All right. It's time to do the thing, everybody. Gonna do a little stretch. Get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, because we're gonna be sitting here. Make sure you got a beverage. It's good to stay hydrated, everybody. It's getting warmer out there. I'm just staying hydrated. It's very important to me. If you don't, generally it can lead to death, or at least being an idiot because your brain doesn't work properly. So drink a fucking glass of water or something. Also, make sure you filter it because the water in this country is fucking awful. So make sure you get a Brita filter or some shit like that, or a house filter, because it should be quality water that you're consuming. I'm just saying, I'm real just picky about the water. Also, if you need coffee recommendations, talk to me. I know the good ones about water. My man. Um, if you don't have any water, a margarita will do.
I used to drink during your games, but I would be dead.
Ah, yeah, my man would put a bottle of scotch on the table, and I'd be like, "I'm jealous."
By the fourth game that week. Hi guys.
Yeah,
I'm doing.
I need to roll a Constitution saving throw for your character. No. Yeah, I will drive a player to drink. That's not a surprise in the slightest. It's because I get y'all connected to your characters a little bit, and then they pull at your brain holes in the absence of getting to play. Which is what we're going to do right after the round robin. And during the round robin, if you've been here before, and I hope that you have, then you understand what the round robin is. The first thing we do is introduce ourselves. The second thing we do is share with one another in the world of pronouns. The third thing we do is introduce our characters. And the fourth and final thing is offer vivid, aesthetic description of those characters, so that they may live in each and every one of our brain holes, because I like to vividly hallucinate with my friends on the internet for 2 to 3 hours at a time, 7 days a week, often multiple times per day. Today is no different. So, without further ado, John, take it away. Do the thing. You should have this by now.
John, he, him pronouns. Today I will be playing a character whose name in Abyssal sounds something like you are choking on a crowbar. And she is a failed clone of Tasha, otherwise known as Igwil, thus a hexblood creature of tremendous power, staying in hiding to conceal herself from Igwil, who is after her to rectify her mistake.
I gotta say, you could not have picked a better place than the vivisection of the Shadowfell and the Underdark to literally lay low. Holy shit! Way to get away.
Her physical appearance aesthetic is, blonde, attractive, long and slender. But she wears kind of like a single piece leotard. She is dirty all the time. Looks like she just crawls around in dirt. She has kinds of strange twigs and things keeping her hair bun going on. She looks like kind of a weird witch type because she is kind of a weird witch type because she conceals herself as a hag during. She is generally known and thought of as a hag in and that is Murder.
Awesome. Thanks, John. It's a nice missile you got there. All right, Matt, take it away.
Hey, I'm Matt. He, him pronouns. Playing Garrett Silverleaf, who's a wood elf ranger, fighter, and Twilight Domain cleric, worshiper of Selûne. I can't remember pronounce right. Selûne.
I generally go with Sehanine. I find it easier to pronounce. Yeah, I listen. I don't watch a lot of other people do Dungeons and Dragons. But I'm going to give Matt Mercer one thing. Taking Selûne and making their name Sehanine.
Sehanine.
Sehanine. Yeah, so, yeah, I find that far easier than Selûne. It doesn't feel good in the mouth at all, does it?
Doesn't seem very moonlighty.
It's hard to even chant, much less say it once. So
indeed. There you go. He is about 6 feet tall. He's wears a black cloak with a mask, hood up, so you can't really see his face. He has bracers that he uses to help with his archery, carries a longbow, and is accustomed to hanging out in the Underdark. It's sort of his jam, and he's looking forward to killing some drow.
You came to the right place. Well, I mean, unless you were to go to the top of the Feywild and then fight your way down, but that's probably not. Probably not. I mean,
not advisable.
I mean, you could do it. You just have to sit in a tree and just constantly like have guys be working on arrows all the time. The numbers are so thick now around this crater, and it's pretty serious. Pretty serious. I hate it. It's bad. Because they're fucking up the Feywild. Right? Same. I think that just leaves me, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet. I'm DMing Hadley. Him pronouns here for about 65% of your DMing needs. I've gone up since 60 because now I'm a certified therapeutic game master, which means that I can reach into your brain hole and introduce new concepts of how to utilize schema in your life and positively affect you through manipulating your brain. It's fun. To play with people's brains. Speaking of which, let's get started because last time we saw your characters, you had ventured out from this city of Shadar Kai, and were making your way towards the edge of the domain of the Drow. And on your way, you made some monster friends. You met a nice gentlemanly bird who tried to show you its house, and you made it very sad when you turned down its offer to meet its children and feed you both to them. They were hurt, both literally and metaphorically, by that rejection. And then you made another friend who you subsequently killed very quickly. A ginormous core worm that was like living magma and iron. And you guys bested that thing. Now there's just a huge iron corpse cooling in these caves. Then you took it upon yourselves to break through a wall that had taken 5,000 years to form and rutted around through the darkness until you stumbled across a tremendous fortress deep underneath the ground. It's pretty beautiful, by the way, guys. It's got this deep amber, near obsidian color to it, as if it was made of shards of lava glass. It rises up tier after tier on this precipice before you across a seemingly endless chasm about 90 feet wide between this side of this huge cave, which rises up glittering in the darkness. And you got a friend with you, Laecia. She is a Shadar Kai. She's kind of a teenager, kind of angsty, really leaning into her like teenage murder vibes. Poisoned daggers and violence. If she had any hair, it would be sort of like curved over one eye. But for the first time since you met her, you see her look on in reverence. Reverence. As you look out, she says, "I was right here all along? How?"
What are we looking out over?
If you are standing on sort of a small stone peninsula, dry, crumbling, almost seabed-like calcified ground here, as if this was underwater long ago, across a absolutely just vacuous, dark chasm. 90 to 120 feet in the distance, this peninsula rises sort of up and out towards the three of you. And you see this palisade wall with turrets made of what looks like obsidian glass, plates and sheets of it, shimmering faintly in the reflecting light overhead. It has a faint golden hue to it, and gives a strange sort of depth as this thing rises up tier after tier after tier with a faint yellowy light seeming to emanate from somewhere deep inside these walls.
I'll ask Laisa, what do you think this is? What is it? Is this something you've been looking for?
She continues to stare at it, unblinking. She says, It's her. It's her home." Do you not, as she says, do you not? You hear a raven caw. And here its wings flutter as it drops down from the farthest spire. Its wings flittering seem to fill this cavern with echoes, as if thousands of ravens are beating wing around you. And she says, "It is her." And can I get wisdom saving throws from the both of you, please?
18.
Eight.
Okay. As Mary Garten, as you hear this flapping of wings, it's as if something sort of swats at your face, and there's you just have the faintest sort of like reflexive reaction, and as you sort of turn your head back, expecting this thing to have flown past you, you are now standing in a corridor. You are on a dark purple carpet with gold sort of piping, not like golden fiber. It looks like two lines of dense gold that run about 2 inches inside of this long, dark purple runner. And on either side of this long hall, which seems to go on almost interminably, you see mirrors on either side of it. Beautiful frames, ornate even, some of them in wood, others in pewter, others gilded, and they have ornate borders that seem to tell sort of a story as you begin to look down this hall.
Turn and look into this mirror to my right and try to determine if there's magic behind these mirrors.
Well, good news. It doesn't take anything for you to figure that out, because as you turn to your left, you see a very sort of brassy gold-looking mirror. It has the two theater masks, comedy and drama, at the top. And you see what looks like a caravan seeming to wind around this mirror. And as you begin to look into it, you see that caravan now ahead of you. And as you look a little longer, the picture behind it becomes this beautiful sort of rocky pass. You can see little sprigs of yellowy grass and little green shrubs. And this caravan is sitting on this rocky precipice. And as you look at it more closely, the world seems to envelop you. And you look down and you are on these white stones, striated rocks on this precipice. And as you step forward and look around, you can feel the breeze rising up from the plains down below you. You can smell fresh wheat, honey, barley. You can smell roasting coffee in the distance. And this caravan stands before you, maybe 20 feet away. And there's actually two big white horses with big fluffy covers over their hooves, and a very beautiful ornate caravan right in front of you.
Do I know what has happened? Do I know if I am being tricked? If I have been transported?
Roll me an Arcana check to start with, and we'll sort of work through this.
21?
21?
Yeah.
Okay. You are participating in somewhat of an illusion, which is existing in your mind. You know that, but it feels very real. You were transported somewhere, and now whatever the effects of this mirror are, you are experiencing them.
Okay, so I know I'm no longer next to Garrett.
You know that to begin with, yes. And all it takes is for a second to realize I'm under the effect of something right now. Now, whether you choose to disengage from it or not, you are here and you realize it's sort of like lucid dreaming.
Turn around and I take a 360-degree view of the terrain I'm standing on.
It's beautiful. It's fucking gorgeous.
Do I recognize it as anywhere I've been?
You roll me a history check, please.
Thanks.
You don't know this place. You could maybe think of some places you've been that might rival it. With these sort of, it looks almost like someone took sand and poured it into little drip castles on the beach and then flash froze them in gray stone.
I think before she takes any deliberate action to modify this situation, she sits Indian style as she does and begins to meditate on this new development and to try and breathe it all in and take it all in and feel the environment where she's at and wait to see if
all it takes is for you to close your eyes, and as you sit, you don't feel the rock you were planning on sitting down on. You feel a thick plush blanket under your bottom and the crunch of blades of grass. And as you look down, you see a mandolin beside you, and it's very evident that the linen pants on your legs aren't yours, nor are the very large masculine feet coming out of the other end of them. As you look to your left, there's a beautiful woman with thick, wavy black hair, and she's smiling. Her green eyes flash in the sunlight coming up over this ridge, looking down into the distance and seeing way off the sea lapping against the shore.
she lowers her hands in front of her to look at these hands that are, I guess, not hers.
They are not, because they are calloused in what seems like very precise ways, where each one of these strings fits perfectly, but the rest of the hand seems oiled and soft. And there's a couple of very large rings, and on your thumb, the nail is sort of extended, elongated, and plated with silver to use as a pin.
She instinctively reaches for the mandolin and tries to see if she knows how to play it.
Oh boy, howdy do you. As you reach out, these fingers find their way to these notes without effort. The strings begin to ring, all 12 of them. this melodic vibration moves through your body to the point that you can feel it causing the rocks beneath you to hum in unison. And we can see from down these rocks towards the sea, these notes moving through the air, washing over this space. And you see this woman's face, and she looks at you with a deep and unending love. And as you continue to play, she begins to lean forward to kiss you.
It's just then that I think the thumb leaves a note hanging on the string. It kind of draws out a long pause as she becomes aware again of the alienness of this environment, and closes her eyes and tries to feel where she is.
Immediately you are standing. You are aware instantaneously. As soon as your eyes close and think about being somewhere else, you can feel your legs underneath you, and there's just the faintest sort of like that you're standing upright again. And as you
in the corridor with the mirrors?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Open my eyes, find myself in the corridors with the mirrors, and I think she frantically does a 180 and looks both ways behind her.
As you look up and down this corridor, it seems virtually unending. As you look up, you see stone arches which almost bleed into nothingness behind these mirrors. And Garrett.
I was just gonna bring him in because I have an idea. I was gonna say she uses her token. She had slipped one of her teeth in Garrett's pocket because she has a Hex Blood token.
I love this.
And she can telepathically contact him.
Fuck yes.
Through this tooth.
Go.
Garrett,
you hear this in your head.
Where do you find yourself?
Garrett, as you look out, you're still on this precipice. But as you look to your left and right, neither Laisha or Marygarten are beside you.
I'm still on the precipice. Where did you go?
The body has been transported somewhere strange. The magic here is almost indistinguishable from reality. But I must be close by. The range of this is only 10 miles. We must be on the same plane at the distance.
I think that even with a passive insight, Garrett would realize that, I mean, you're probably not 10 miles away. You're probably right there in that building over there somewhere. Probably. Because you're standing out on your own. Whatever just washed over these two. I don't think...
As we're talking telepathically, I'm going to start working my way towards the structure.
Okay. Roll me a survival check as you sort of look around this space inside here. And I'll go ahead and just give you sort of some basic layout. You are out on this rocky precipice. It sort of just comes out and wedges out. It looks like there just should be a bridge right across. But there's not. As you look to either side, you can see ribbons and stalactites dripping down into this abyss. Now, instead of the flapping of wings, you hear drips echoing back up from miles away. There's just this faint, distant sound, almost like raindrops. And eventually this sort of curves upward, and you can see a series of stalactites that climb up over this structure.
Is there any light source at all?
There seems to be a singular source of light. It seems to be coming from the middle of this fortress. It is a faint golden source of illumination that sort of gives you a perspective of depth.
Okay.
And is just enough illumination to cause these reflective little stones inside the cave to glisten. So it's still very dark, but in that darkness, a faint illumination is so distinct.
All right, I got a 24 on my survival check. I want
Okay.
to see if I can figure out how to get over to the Citadel.
You've got a few options. You think that if you are cautious and take the right precautions, you can probably just sort of boulder your way around either side, really. And eventually, if you can get up onto a couple of these larger stalactites without dropping down into the abyss, of course, then you can make it over to the other side. It does look like the side to the right has less problems for you to deal with and gets you a little closer to this side of the structure.
Okay. What's the not so safe option?
Leap of faith to try and jump across.
Can I see how far it is?
You're looking at about 90 feet. If you made it from like the last little tip of this point and it didn't break off under your foot, you could maybe leap across to the other side, and maybe that wouldn't break off the very tippity tip 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 tip.
But that's 90 feet.
That's at least 90 feet.
All right. So
And
I will go around
Okay.
the way that looks clearest or easiest and to scramble over there.
Okay. I'm not gonna make you make a check for this. With a 24 on the survival, this is not your first fucking rodeo moving across rocks. I think it's just gonna take time to get there, and it does. We'll come around in just a second, though, and check in as you make your way to the gates. Mary Garton,
Yes.
you still have your connection with Garrett, and I believe he would inform you of his intentions to get to the fortress. But you're still in this hallway. Can I get an insight or religion check, please?
Religion. Hey, not 20 for a 25.
Okay. Well,
And a 22 insight.
okay. That lady right there at the end of the purple rug walking towards you
Mhm.
looks a lot like the visages of the Raven Queen that you've seen in different sorts of temples all over the world.
Okay, so massively powerful being. What do I know about the Raven Queen's past and what her values are? I don't know if automatically I would be hostile, deferential, and admiring.
I think that with a check so sufficient, you're going to get a lot to go on. First, the Raven Queen is not a corporeal individual. They are an entity. This is at best an avatar in an effort to probably communicate with you in a way that you would understand. The Raven Queen was once a woman, and it is almost as if this is poured into your head with a similar sieve as the mirror there. You see her leading a charge against Drow, actually. And can see that they are utilizing undead in this war. And you are standing at the head of a tremendous army of Shadar-kai, and to your flank, you can see elves in golden armor, silver and golden, actually. And as they begin to ride up over a ridge, you see them stop. And then you see, instead of climbing the ridge, these drow and the undead begin to wash like a wave over your forces of assassins. And it is a brutal battle. And you see these elves literally sitting on their high horses looking down over this exchange. And then you see a surge from these Shadar Kai as they clamber over the dead brothers, their brethren, having fallen on the battlefield, and begin to beat back these drow, driving them up into hills and caves. And then you can see before you this army wash past you, your castings having turned the tide as they chase these drow into the hills. And as you turn and look, you see the captain of that golden guard, and they are holding a gnarled wooden wand. Tap it to your head, and immediately your ears pop with a disturbing sensation as if your brain had imploded. And when you open your eyes again, you are in a corridor not unlike the one that you found yourself in mere moments ago. And she steps forward and looks at you and says, "You see that I was trapped here by them."
Are you trapped now?
I have dominion over many places, but my influence is not the same as who I am. Sips margarita excitedly.
Hang on a second. I'm sorry. I'll just...
Gary.
Yes, sir.
You got some good gloves for climbing. It's climbing gloves.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Goat skin?
No,
Hide?
yes.
I like to do
But
hide in the palm, and then goat skin on the back.
owlbear hide.
Bitch.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Still smells like owlbear,
That's
though.
that's the only problem, isn't it?
Yeah,
It smells
you really can't get that smell out.
It smells like smoked ass. Have you ever had the pleasure of smelling smoked elk hide?
No,
Don't.
it's not a pleasure.
I don't advise it. It would take that much smoke to even begin to hide with the aromas of that hide, I guess. Holy shit. Oof, not my favorite.
No.
But you know, durable to the end, right?
Good to know.
Plus breathable because of the quills, you know?
Yeah.
So that's smart. It keeps the moisture off your palms. As you dust off these robust gloves, you look up and you see a wall. It's about 35 feet up. And it looks like somebody had a great day making glass candy and shattering it and gluing it back together in the shape of a fortress. It does look particularly dangerous to try and climb because, like, every piece of the glass looks razor sharp where it's been broken. It breaks off in sort of a strata-like crystalline nature. Very dangerous.
Can I do I see any obvious entry point? If not obvious,
There's a very
look for.
obvious entry point. There's a tremendous set of black gates that don't look like they're large enough to have reached across to where you were previously.
Mhm. Can I make my way down to those?
Yeah, as you stroll down, you're sort of standing on. There's a pretty stark sort of like sensation here because you look down, it looks like old coral beds.
Mhm.
Sort of sandy, salty feel underfoot, kicking up just the faintest little bit of salty dust. As you look to your right, you see a reflection of yourself. And it feels a little weird because as you look, it's not walking like you are. It's standing there looking at you.
My
Like,
reflection of me.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
You
I'm
walk
going to
some
say
more
hi
and
to it.
check
So
out.
what are you doing?
It doesn't respond to you. Just
Okay.
seems to reflect an avatar-like quality of you.
Okay. Um, I'll keep exploring down this way.
Okay. As you make your way closer to these doors, you can see the visage of you sort of like twist around the columns on either side of these gates. And as you step in front of the doors themselves, they rise up even taller than the walls, about 40 feet. These huge black obsidian doors, and there's a reflection of you just sort of standing there, the darkness beneath your hood staring back in a vacant way.
Hmm. I'm going to touch it. Touch the mirror image of me.
As you reach forward and touch, we can see the this pane from the side, and we see that finger as it becomes boop, right against that glass, and from the other side. We see a hand lash out and grab your wrist and pull you in. And
Okay.
without seeing the far side of this glass, we see you now in abject darkness, and this figure stands before you, and you see it take off its hood, and it looks just like you. And the only really distinguishing difference is that this person's face seems to have a more relaxed demeanor to it, almost inquisitive. And it looks at you, and how's a 24 versus your armor class?
That would hit.
You see it look to its right, and then very quickly you see it grab the bow from across its chest and slip it past their elven ear. It flicks their ear, and as it comes off their arm, they draw and pull their bow and fire at you. And you see an arrow, unlike any in your quiver, begin to twist towards you. And before you can step out of the way, feel it glance and cut across your shoulder through your armor. And as you sort of twist back to try and glance that shot, you see blood just just start pumping out, and you're going to take 11 points of damage. And can I get a perception or investigation check, please? You've got quite the DC to meet.
Perception check. Ooh, perfect 20.
Nat 20 or
Nat
30?
20.
Nat 20.
Well, with my bonus, it's a
Okay.
28, but it's a nat 20.
Nice. As you sort of like regard this, I mean, almost comedic spray of blood. What color is your blood, by the way? You half elf?
Yeah.
Full elf.
No, I'm Elven.
Okay.
I don't know. Do they have red blood?
What do you have?
I have red blood.
You've got red blood. We see red blood. Okay.
Yeah.
It's almost a comic sort of just like it actually comes the other way. It sort of from the in to the out, sprays following this arrow. But you hear just the faintest shift of a foot behind you and realize that they're not ahead of you. They've moved behind you. And as long as it took you to realize that you've been shot.
Okay.
And as you respond, you hear a short sword being unsheathed. But it's your turn. What do you want to do?
It's in melee range.
Right behind you.
Okay. I'll draw 2 short swords.
Okay.
Bonus action. What's this called? Second wind. Trying to recover some hit points. Okay, that's 7. And I will take my attacks with my short sword.
Magnificent.
Fantastic. A 18 and a 10.
The 18 is going to hit. In fact, as you produce both short swords, you're able to grab this incoming short sword, matching your own, and then deflect it with your left hand and come low with your right, and slash into you. And you dance away from this and draw your bow again. And as you do a 19 versus armor class.
That will hit.
Okay. That's going to be 8 points of piercing damage. As this black arrow, you see it almost slow motion twist into your abdomen. And as you look at the blade, it looks as if there are crisscrossing raven's feathers, each little fiber of which looks like a different razor blade as it twists into your body. And there's not even a whoomph from the energy. It just twists right through you and holds as it catches the fletching, similarly of raven's feathers.
So when I attacked with my short sword, it didn't do damage to.
Oh, it did damage it. Yeah.
Okay.
It just twisted away as you cut it, and took another shot at you.
Gotcha.
What do you want to do?
Jeez. I will cast have anything good. I'll cast Guiding Bolt.
Nice.
And that's a 24 to hit.
That's definitely going to hit.
Okay, so they take 5d8 of 5d6 of radiant damage. $17 points of damage. Okay. And then I have advantage on the next turn.
Magnificent. You see yourself outlined in what color is this radiant light? Silvery, like moonlight kind of?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Very good. Yeah, it's very interesting because as they're sort of hit with this light, you can see a little bit of contrasting energy because they don't seem to have been hurt quite as bad as you thought you would conjuring this radiance. But you also see that they have sort of a deep purpley radiance of their own, shimmering as like little needles. This moonlight pierces at them around and through this purple light.
Okay.
And you can see as you look at you, their eye following the length of this shaft past this new broadhead, and they take another shot. It's a 22 versus your armor class
That'll hit.
for 13 points of damage. And then I don't think a 13 is going to hit you, is it?
No.
Okay. As you twist away, you see another one of these arrows just go right past your face as you're trying to dance out of the way. Hey, Mary Garten. How's...
Sorry, I was trying to unmute and I killed the mic. I killed the video.
Welcome back. How's you and your new girlfriend up here in this piece, the goddess of the life and death, the Raven Queen?
What did she tell me?
You get the picture. She essentially told you that well, I mean, through the same sort of expression of what you saw in the mirror, you see that she was once a mortal woman who had amassed this army of Shatterkai, and sort of how she became the Raven Queen
Through this battle.
Yeah, somebody in that battle essentially rode up and let her get beat up real good, and then didn't stab her in the back as much as just was like, you're gonna go with your friends too. And the last sensation you got was the realization that you and all the Shatterkai were now here wedged into the Shadowfell.
Oh, so that's how all the Shatterkai got here?
Yeah.
From somewhere else?
Yeah. From up there. On the mainland.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where you were fighting that battle. On behalf of your elven brethren.
What's the chick's name that brought us here?
That is Laecia.
Laecia. Did she bring us here on purpose?
It doesn't seem that way, because she was surprised that it was here in those mere seconds before
right.
You were sort of teleported into whatever this space is.
Where did she think she was taking us, or where was she trying to take us?
The edge of the Drow sort of controlled sections of the Underdark.
Okay. And we stumbled upon the Raven Queen's fortress, effectively.
Yep.
Okay. She would be like, okay, been real. I'm gonna go this way now. I'm gonna go back this way.
Okay. As you turn and look the other way, she doesn't seem to move. When you look at her, it's a little interesting because you see these sort of long, thin, almost dainty, grayish fingers with a large amethyst stone on an oversized silvery ring with faint gold embellishments. But as you sort of look up her sleeve, which seems to glow dark purple from inside, it seems to have this thick weave material that just dissipates into darkness as it approaches the shoulder. You see the same effect on the other side, and the same effect with the legs, actually.
She's like non-corporeal.
There's there's more of an essence of a woman standing before you that sort of delves into darkness, as if part of her hadn't really caught up with the visual effect of who she is.
So looking around this hallway, do I see an exit, or is it look like an illusion?
It looks like an illusion. It does sort of look like an illusion because as you keep walking down the hall, you can see her sort of growing in distance behind you as you look over your shoulder, but you don't see there's no left or right turn that seems to go on interminably. And you see just an infinite myriad as you look left and right, all of these scenes, most of them actually really delightful. You see a woman being proposed to. You look over, you see a dwarf as they hammer at rock and then see a huge vein of gold as it falls away. You see sailors. Almost like you're standing, holding on to the mast, looking out and seeing your love waiting for you on the pier. You see combat. You see awards, you see athletic competitions, you run past this. A Nickelodeon of different images rush over you.
And I turn around and look back towards the Ravenclaw.
And as soon as you stop running away and turn around, she's standing 10 feet in front of you. What of her seems to exist in your perception?
She shouts to her, "I must go back. The drow must be destroyed."
But there's an awkward pause. And speaking of awkward, the sensation of breath upon the back of your ear is a little unnerving as you hear her speak to you. And she says, "That is what everyone has been convinced of for so long." You can almost feel her lip against the back of your ear. It's way too close for comfort. But she's standing in front of you, about 15 feet away. With Karen,
Sure.
He's getting in a fight with himself.
Oh yeah, let him fight himself.
We always do.
Yes.
Always struggling.
Yeah, I'm apparently kicking my ass.
One way or the other, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You also don't look as damaged as you do. You were already in a couple fights before you got into this. Well, this one was sort of foisted upon you, sure.
Like you had nothing to do with it.
I'm not judging any of these things. I just work here, man.
You're just standing here. I'm just
translating. I just drop in the ether, and I'm like, here you go. And like,
there it is.
I don't like that. And I'm like, that's not in charge of it. The man hands it down, and I hand it to you.
You're just a messenger.
Exactly. I'm a conduit. Don't shoot the messenger.
Okay.
I tell everybody 7 days a week.
Yeah.
I'm not in charge of these things, y'all. You don't believe me. You think I'm trying. I'm bad at deception, and that's why everyone's like, "You're trying to deceive us, but you're bad at it." And I was like, "But I'm not trying to deceive. That's the point. Is if I was lying, you'd believe me, but I couldn't because I'm just telling the truth. And if that's a lie, and I'm like, God damn, y'all just spun around. Everybody's lying to you."
Yeah.
You're right. You're right over there. What would you like to do?
It's so he's still in. I'd be firing a bow with disadvantage, right?
No, he moved away from you.
Okay.
So yeah.
I will try my longbow.
Okay.
With the plus 12 instead of the sharpshooter.
Okay.
Oh, and that's a 16 and a 17. I am going to use my precision shot
Hey,
on the 17. Does the 17 hit?
the 17 does hit.
Well, then I will use it on the 16
There you go.
to add
Anything at all.
1.
That's all you need.
I literally did roll a 1.
That's all you need.
Okay.
Yeah, you sort of like fire, and we see that first arrow as you fire, and you see you starting to move out of the way. And as that arrow is still sort of like going back and forth in this archer's paradox way, we see the second arrow launch and sort of crisscross as these are two arrows are sort of weaving one behind the other towards you. And we see them dance to one side and then try and dodge that second arrow, and instead we just see both of them right into you, and you're spun as both of them hit pop pop, shoulder and chest, one after the other. What's that damage?
10 plus 26.
That's not nothing. Okay. Sweet. As they go to reach back, you see their bow as they draw this arrow. The string breaks right where the arrow is. They seem to just overdrawn, and you see the cat gut right across your face, cut across your cheek, and up to the brow, and see them staggering as they can't seem to get a hold of this bow. And now they're too far away as they've reeled backwards to bridge the distance. They try and get to their feet, draw their short swords, and look like they're going to make a move towards you. But right now, they are sort of in this low crouched position with both short swords out, about 25 feet away.
I'm going to try to grapple, just wrestle this guy to the ground. Does he look damaged at all?
Oh yeah, you're doing the Lord's work here, beating yourself up for sure.
All right. I'm going to try to pin and grapple this guy because I can't keep just going back and forth. So I'm going to try to grapple him.
Okay.
Pin him down.
Roll me an athletics or acrobatics check, please.
Athletics or acrobatics?
Mm-hmm.
All right. That is a 23.
With a measure of precision and grace, you dance past these two blades, which go up one way and then cut the other. And as we see you dance almost through the air around this visage of you, see this second blade go up and just completely miss as you move around with a speed that is truly unhuman. And come behind them and can grab them both up under the arm of that swinging short sword and around their neck. And you see their other arm go out, and you lock it up and out, and that short sword flies up into the darkness around you. Roll me a. I don't know. What do you do once now you've got the upper hand? I guess is a better question.
I still have one attack, so okay. I am going to. Can I, if I grapple, can I throw him to the ground and pin him, or
however you'd like to do this, my man?
I'd like to throw him to the ground and pin him.
Okay,
pin him on the ground.
Roll me quite literally anything: an unarmed strike, an athletics or acrobatics check. Just whatever seems appropriate in your
acrobatics
sense to melee.
That is a 24.
Okay. We see as you come behind them, you just, with that same momentum, just up off the ground with them, and we see you spin a full rotation before you come down on top and behind them on the ground. Their other sword in their left hand, goes skittering across something into abject darkness. And as you are sort of in your own ear, you realize that there's no doubt you've bested who or whatever this is.
Okay, with the short sword to its neck, I'm gonna ask, why are you attacking me? Who are you, and where? What is this place?
As you look, you see their face sort of like turned backwards, and you see your eye turn, and you see it flash a dark purple color, and then you feel the structure beneath you dissipate and catch yourself against darkness beneath you. Feels like a surface, but being that you were struck so quickly in this combat, didn't really realize that there's not really a floor beneath.
There's not
you.
a terrain here.
Yeah, exactly. And you hear the clicking of high-heeled shoes in the distance. You're not quite sure how far off, as it sort of radiates past you and then echoes back from behind you. And very quickly you see a very similar visage of sort of the suggestion of femininity before you. Go ahead.
Am I still telepathically linked with Mary Garden?
Yes.
I'm gonna say Mary Garden. Are you saying what I'm saying?
No, you're not seeing what he's seeing.
I say only if you're seeing the Raven Queen.
Well, I think I am seeing the Raven Queen.
So kind of, then yeah, I guess.
I think we're both looking at her, but I can't see you.
That is correct as well.
I say to her, release us. We must be allowed on our way. The Feywild cannot be allowed to fall.
There's not a audible response to this, Mary Garden. As you say that, it's almost as if like a kid punching one of those little clown bounce up punching bag things where you hit it and it hits the floor, then it sort of comes back and flaps you in the face. It has a very similar sensation to that, as you're like, release us, we must be and you instantaneously know that that's not going to happen under that sort of attitude. But you do, in that sense, realize that that's probably as easy as the Raven Queen can go when it comes to disagreeing with someone.
What's as easy as she can go?
That sort of gentle, like plastic balloon bop sensation. When you're like, let us go, and it's like, no, whack. It's like rolling up a newspaper and sort of bopping a cat on the nose with it. Not hard, but enough to be like, I could have been a lot harder.
Instead of just like decapitating Mary Garden.
Correct. Or making them cease to exist.
I turn and look at the mirrors, and are they physical mirrors, like propped up against the wall, or are they bolted in?
They do look, so the thing is that sort of in the same way that her arms and legs sort of like radiate upward into darkness, the arch of stone overhead sort of gradiates down into a vacancy upon which these mirrors, which look very tangible, hang. And then there's sort of darkness, which gives the sense of a corridor, and then this deep purple rug with gold metal runners, like almost rails of gold.
So the mirrors, are they hanging on something, or are they propped up against the wall, or are they magically?
They seem to be hanging as if they were against a wall. There's just a faint sort of tilt inward just enough to as if they were on a wire on something. But there's nothing behind them, it seems, that they are hung upon.
Whenever he reached towards the wall, into the wall, what happens?
It feels as if there's a wall there. It has a glassy like sensation, but you can't see the barrier.
I grab the edge of the molding around the mirror. Can I get my fingers behind the lip?
You can, but as you start to think like I should be able to move this, it does
doesn't
not
move.
budge at all. You can feel the depth behind it as if there's just sort of like a faint, like there should be a wall there, maybe of some sort of pretty smooth stone, but your ability to like perceive it beyond that seems limited.
I'm going to say to the Raven Queen in front of me, I think it's clear that we're in no position to make demands. So would you maybe just tell us what you want with us?
You see those arms and legs almost dissipate against the darkness as you hear another set of very soft footfalls. And as you look ahead of you, Garrett, you can see that Laicia is sort of stepping into this space. And with every step she takes towards you, you can see this dark purple rug start to just generate like it's loading in, rolling towards you, so much so that as it moves underneath you, you can feel its plush woolen nature underhand, obviously very high quality, and you can see these two bright golden sort of thin rails just sort of running along the edges of it, out into an eternity behind Laicia. And you see this otherwise very angsty teenager as she leans down and squats, and she looks at you with these sort of silvery eyes, and she goes, "Why are you on the ground?"
It's a long story. Where have you been?
I think I've been in other people's minds.
Anyone you know?
She looks a little, just a little shocked by the question, actually, and thoughtful, and says, "I don't think so. Not yet, but I imagine we stick around here." And as she starts to stand up, she reaches up under your arms and starts to stand you up. And as she stands you up, you look around and you begin to see these mirrors from behind her sort of rush past you. And as you sort of look down and around and feel the space just fill in around you, you look at her, and you think you can see Mary Garton, the back of Mary Garton's head, way down yonder.
If we're still linked telepathically, I'm going to say, "Hey, Mary Garden, turn around and wave your hand. I think I see you."
Yeah, Mary Garden, this is a little interesting because as you look ahead, Mary Garden, you sort of see through this visage of the femininity of the Raven Queen, and far in the distance, sort of like in the middle of her chest, you swear you can see Laicia against the blackness, her sort of gray, pewtery skin and silvery eyes, and you can see that Garrett's looking away from you, way down yonder, not on the Chattahoochee. Just clarify.
And he's yelling. Can I hear him?
You can hear him in your head. He says,
I can
"Turn
hear
around."
him. I can hear him in my head.
Turn around, we can see you.
I turn around. What do I see?
You see the back of Laicia and the front of Garrett. It's far in the distance. It's about as far as you could probably consider someone. But in the darkness, in the purple runner, that's enough illumination to be like, that's probably hundreds of mirrors between you and them, and it looks like either way you look, they're way over there.
Mm.
So from Garrett's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
there's not the Raven Queen in between us. I don't see anything between me and Marigarden.
Nope. It looked like Laecia sort of stepped into the position where the Raven Queen was, and upon doing so, just sort of the Raven Queen's essence just seemed to not be there anymore. And then she picked you up, very material, very tangible. And you see, as you look down, way, way, way down, you see Marigarden turn around and lock eyes with you.
All right, I'm gonna start making my way towards her.
Okay. Laecia's gonna look at you and then look over her shoulder, and she's gonna see Marigarden looking at the two of you, and begin to make her way towards Marigarden as well. What did you see?
Walking with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you see? She's very expectantly.
Saw Marigarden.
No. And she looks very knowingly before that.
Before I saw the Raven Queen.
What did you see before? She's like really leading you now. She's like, she knows there's something that whatever. She saw something. She thinks that you don't have to roll an insight check. She thinks you saw something. She saw something for sure. She thinks Marigarden saw something too. She's very excited about this. She's like, she's never been excited about anything except trying to show you that she could kill you if she needed to.
I have no idea. Why don't you tell me? What do you think I saw?
She says, I think whatever you saw was for you. And I think whatever I saw was for me. And what I saw was Drow running, trying to hide, trying to get away from something very powerful. And she sounds very excited.
Mm-hmm.
Marigarden, they're coming right for you.
See them walking towards me.
Yep.
I turn to walk away from the Raven Queen towards them.
Yeah, as you turn, you can almost feel that presence dissipate. And it's like, it feels like maybe like 1,200, 1,500 feet. Like it's far. It is only near enough that you can perceive that you're standing there against the darkness and these mirrors that seem to go on interminably. And it takes some time. Laecia's very itchy. Come on, you got to tell me now. What did you see? I know you saw the Raven Queen. You all saw the Raven Queen. We're here. It's her house. I'm not surprised she said hello.
I saw myself.
What were you doing?
I fought myself.
You fought yourself?
Fought my. Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess did you win?
I don't know if I won. I managed to survive.
Well, call it a win in my book. And she actually reaches up and sort of claps you on the shoulder. And as she does, you look down, expecting to wince from the pain of that cut. And your armor's not damaged. There's no blood, there's no spray, there's no ichor running down the front of your armor. It's undamaged. And you felt like it was there. You felt that pain, but it doesn't seem that there's a physical wound to go along with it.
Well, I mean, I only won because she allowed me to win.
She looks at you and sort of taps her nose. You're not stupid, are you?
Not usually.
As y'all continue crossing these paths, it's almost impossible to ignore the fact that you're sort of walking past these windows into really beautiful sensory experiences. Um, there's phenomenal examples of geography and geology and beautiful scenes, fantastic piles of wealth. All of these seemingly delightful images. Um, can I get insight checks from the two of you, please?
Seven.
24.
Okay. As you look back and forth, Garrett, you're not quite sure what the hell's going on here. It seems like scrying in each of these windows, mirrors. You don't see yourself reflected the way you did. It's as if you were almost looking through someone else's eyes.
Hmm.
And you can see Laisia, she seems to be delighted by this experience. Uh, but Mary Garden, you have a unique perspective on this. The understandings of magic users and hags, and those who deal in memories, and the untold value and power that they hold.
What do I experience?
It's like standing in the most magnificent dragon's hoard. You feel like this sprawling, unending hall of mirrors is like looking in upon the greatest wealth of every person from which they are drawn. And you realize that, and this is so fucked up, I'm going to say this, they're like NFTs of everyone's best fucking memories, is essentially what this looks like. It looks like a gallery of everybody's best fucking memory that they gave up for something. It is everyone's greatest hits that has ever been touched by the Raven Queen.
What kind of check would I need to roll to see if I could monetize this?
Yeah, roll me. Is there an evil check? You'd have to change your alignment. You'd have to change your alignment to lawful evil.
Okay.
And then I will give you a patron of avarice, and you could charge admission to the Raven Queen's Fortress of Memory.
Sweet. Um, is there anything I know about like this the Raven Queen's fortress?
It's supposed to be inaccessible. It's supposed to be locked away. It is supposed to be almost a prison for her. The only way she can sort of appreciate this kind of existence is almost the same way you are now experiencing this place. And that is a
Mhm.
hall of mirrors into which she can delight in the greatest memories of
Of other people.
other people, exactly, but not her own.
Hmm.
You're about to meet up with Mary Garden. You're not quite there yet.
I guess I'm just walking.
Okay. As you continue to almost trudge now, more than 1,000 feet to cover. 4 football fields of sauntering. See that, like, you see, she's sort of taken a bit of a mall walker approach, sort of throws the hips into it. You gotta stay limber, especially on a soft surface. And after a couple of minutes of you guys just slowly making your way towards one another, you're within about 60 feet of one another, and you both sort of feel that connection from the tooth just sort of dissipate as the proximity grows closer.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still in this hallway. What do you do as you reconvene, as it were?
I mean, she's not going to let us out until she wants to. And there's just no way that we're getting out through any physical means.
As you say means,
Yeah.
you realize that the setting around you has shifted dramatically.
And what is it now?
It's still dark for the most part, but under your feet are not purple carpets, but black obsidian bricks. And the illumination has changed quite dramatically because to the right of you there is a bright golden glowing tree. And you can see that you are sort of in the central plaza now of this space. There's steps, tiers that lead up to a almost corona at the base of this tree, a small, almost abyss of its own between the edge of these obsidian bricks and the trunk of this very large golden tree. It seems to look like a pear tree by the bright golden pear-like fruit that dangles from its branches just out of reach, maybe a good 15, 20 feet up, and then rising up taller into this beautiful shrubbery like tree. And you can see that you're back outside because you can see the caves and stalactites and shimmering lights reflecting this golden hue. It's a little brighter by far in this area. And you see Laisha, and she sort of looks up with a giddy nature.
I'm going to ask her, what is this place?
Um, she literally like licks her dark gray pewtery lips, and she says, "You've heard of the Tree of Knowledge, right?"
Yes.
Well, and she gestures as she begins to sort of strafe up these tiers towards the base of this tree. And as she goes up and up and up, you can see that the canopy almost matches that height. These fruit hanging well out of reach above each of you. But she looks up somewhat ravenously as she tries to consider how to first make the leap from this side of these obsidian bricks to the trunk. And you can see her trying to think about, if I scramble over here, maybe if I hang upside down, I can grab that one right there, the closest, the low hanging fruit, right? And then she sort of looks back at the two of you, almost as if you can see the Lego-like structure she's created, putting one of you at the bottom, and then or Garrett at the bottom, and then Mary Garten, and then her standing on top, and you can almost see the image in her head as she holds this fruit with delight, and she sort of twiddles her fingers, trying to figure out how to do this. And Mary Garden. Oh no. Yeah. Mary Garden, can you hear me? It's not. Garrett, what do you do as you see this pronounced sort of delight and desire?
I don't know. Can I walk up to the tree and touch it?
It seems to be just out of reach. It's about a 15-foot gap between the top of this brick structure, and as you look down, you can see sort of golden roots almost glowing from way deep in obsidian glass.
Is there a close enough branch that I could throw some rope over so we could
Roll me
get up to the base of onto the tree?
Sleight of hand.
19.
Okay. You take a rope, tie a knot in it so that there's some heft to it. You run out some line, and you. It's not the first time you threw a fucking rope over a branch. And you see it go up, it goes up, it comes over, it falls. And then you give it some slack, and it begins to shunk. Very quickly, you've got sort of this slight angle of rope over a branch, about 15 feet above you. You've got extra rope, and you see Laisha. She says, "Do you want to hold that for me?"
Yeah.
And then she starts to scramble. Before you even can get the words across your mouth, you see her pull tight the other end of this rope, and you feel it just sort of jolt in your hands. And she starts scrambling up this rope as if she was born to do it. And you see her reach out, and with an eye of desire and lust and enthusiasm and almost ecstasy, she reaches out, grabs a pear, and plucks it. It comes off in her hand. This beautiful golden pear with a beautiful golden leaf coming off of it. She looks down at you. She looks at the golden pear. She looks up at the tree. She looks down again. Nothing happens. And she begins to shimmy down the rope. And she looks at this pear like, starts to slowly move it towards her mouth. Sort of looks around. I'm like, no one's going to stop me. She takes a bite of the pear. And as she does, you see her eyes go black. And you see a little bit of juice run down the side of her lip. And her body almost freezes in place mid-bite. And you can see the juice continuing to run. Little flakes, almost streamers of gold running down her chin, upon which you can see now more clearly in this golden illumination these sort of tribal tattoos that run down her chin and under her neck. And then you hear crunch, and she bites through the rest of the pear, and her eyes are silvery again. And she goes, "Oh, that's good." And she chomp, just starts to go to school. And eventually she just ends up with the stem and the leaf. And she looks around like, where am I supposed to throw this away?
Put it in your bag. So
she slings around her little bag and opens up a small pocket on the side and sort of tucks it in. You can see through the mushroom leather material the still faint golden glow of radiance.
So was that good?
I might have to get back to you on that. She looks a little worried, a little overwhelmed.
Okay.
What's
What's going on?
Then she looks a little uneasy, like the motion sickness, and she
Uh-huh.
staggers back and holds onto the rope to sort of steady herself. And she goes, "Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot." And then there's this echo, as there's just sort of a sustained scream. And there's it just ringing in your ears, ringing in this cave, so much so that you hear a faint crack overhead, which then begins to sound like a peal of thunder. And then you see a stalactite fall and slam into the stone. And as it hits the floor here, it shatters like lightning climbing up through this obsidian stalactite. And as it shatters, the pieces of it go scattering across the brick floor in here, leaving this crystal ringing sound, and then almost fading into dust and then being absorbed by the floor itself, leaving it perfectly unmarred, as if the obsidian was absorbed into this space. And you hear the last of the echoes of her scream fade.
Hmm. This is an odd place.
You hear her voice sounds a little bit different. It certainly is. And she looks up, and her eyes are gold. And there is this faint purple radiance, just sort of a halo of it around those golden eyes.
I'm going to ask her. So I'm going to just try to figure out what's going on. I mean, what's happening to her?
Roll me an Arcana check, please.
9.
I mean, I'm not entirely surprised. Not quite sure what's going on. This lady with the silver eyes just got gold eyes. She ate a pear, and now something's happening to her. She's been elated about this concept that was a little unnerving to you, and now it looks like something godly question mark has happened to her.
Hmm.
Did Feedless Mary Garten? Would be.
Um, is there anything else in this space besides it's just this big open cavernous space within the fortress?
Yeah, you're sort of if you've got your sort of layout of where you
Hmm.
are in relation, you went from the gates maybe a good 100 to 200 feet into the center of this citadel. Not an insignificant amount of space to have crossed. And it looks like it goes on for another maybe couple 100 feet. As from here, it rises up much more. The perspective you had sort of below this, clouding the depth of how
Hmm.
large this structure actually is.
Is there anything of note that I can see? Passageways?
Yes, as you look sort of around you, this is a very large plaza. It seems to be about 160 feet by 160 feet, the walls of which rise up about 40 feet. And you can see parapets, and you can see turrets on the corners, and you can see that these walls sort of lead into the structure ahead of you on the other side of this tree, which has doors out front, 3 sets of them, 2 obviously larger doors in the middle of the structure, and see that it rises a couple of stories up from there, and then larger and taller structures onward and upward. So yeah, lots of different ways you could go. You look the other way. There's another set of gates that seem to lead you out, and there is an interesting perspective as you sort of turn and look far behind you from this tree. It's as if the gates you came from are now laying open, and you can see the cave through a small archway off in the distance.
Let's keep going further into the citadel.
Okay.
If I could make a survival check and see if there's any, if I can tell if there are any different passageways that are more used or recently used. Are there signs of anything having passed by recently?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give you that one of the things you were able to intuit about that falling stalactite as it
Uh-huh.
shattered is that there's no dust in here. This place is preternaturally clean. It is a sacred, if not consecrated, space, and does not dirty. Your footprints do not leave dirt behind on the ground, nor do Laisha's footsteps. But she is, as you're sort of like, I should make my way deep, almost reflexively. She's like, mm-hmm, and she walks away from that rope, not even thinking about undoing it, and begins to make her way around this tree and towards these gates.
Okay, I will follow her.
Okay, as she leads you around the far side of the tree here, she steps towards these 2 large doors. And as she approaches, you don't see a reflection of her or these glowing golden eyes in the obsidian like you saw a reflection of yourself. In fact, you
Mhm.
don't see a reflection of yourself now either. But as she steps forward, those doors sort of and as they turn and open, you see just a cacophony of ravens come pouring out from these doors, cawing and screeching, flittering past you. And before you can even take another step, you are in what looks very much like a throne room. The rug in here and runner seeming to be more regal, a red with a woven pattern of ivory and gold. And columns on either side of you, torches illuminated around each of these large obsidian stone masonry columns holding up this room. And at the end of this runner, up a couple of steps, is a tremendous dark silvery throne, which seems to have sort of pewter accents, giving the veins of feathers. And atop its left side, you can see a unnaturally large raven perched upon its high arched back. And Laisha continues to move forward into this space and says, "This is where she lives. This is where she's been all this time." And she walks forward with an almost zealot like nature.
Hmm. I'm going to sort of look at the raven and sort of bow to it and ask the uh, assuming that might be the Raven Queen. Can we come in?
You see the wings of this raven spread and flutter, and as they do, you see a single feather, small and downy, from its right wing flitter down into the dark indigo cushion of this throne, and there she is before you. Now, far more fleshed out, so to say.
Hmm.
You can see a gray faced woman, her lips a dark indigo as well. Her eyes seeming to have an almost cosmic darkness to them. And she sits with her with one leg over the other. Her high, almost knee-high boots, one fully exposed, and you can see the gold stitching in them glint quite beautifully. And she drums her fingers, her nails clicking against this pewtery silver throne. And she says, "You came here to kill." And those words hang in the room. And Laetitia stops, turns, and looks with her golden eyes at you.
I didn't come here to kill. I'm here to defend against the drow.
And inside of your mind, you sort of feel this admonishment. And it's an almost jovial, like snarky even sensation in your mind.
Huh?
And you sort of you feel, you don't hear it, but you feel, but wouldn't that mean that Drow would die? Sort of like in your head.
But you know, what's a little killing? I mean,
Uh,
certainly the
uh,
Raven Queen can't have a problem with that.
there's almost like almost like a sense of like a being slapped backhanded with a silken glove, and you are staggered a little bit as you feel your brain almost stretch out beyond the container of your skull. And there's this flash of darkness and light, and you feel like the expression is, "I am responsible for the line between life and death. All die eventually, but all should die in due time."
Who determines when it's due time?
And you sort of get this other sensation, entities greater than I.
Hmm. So how do you know my coming down here isn't to signal in the end of their due time?
Um, there's it's almost like a laughter over your shoulder, the sound of like children laughing in a park, the sound of a woman cackling with delight, and the sound of a man chortling, trying to stifle a laugh. and you get this sense that their time has come and gone, and has come around again. And there's a sort of dreadful sensation as you reckon with this, because it seems like the Raven Queen is on the Drow's side.
Mm, that could be a problem.
And you see your friend Laisha. She turns and smiles at you. Her eyes look like you'd just taken gold leaf and just rubbed them right over her corneas and irises. And she
Mm.
blinks and smiles. And she says, "That's our brethren."
So, what are you doing with your eyes these days? What's up with that?
Yeah, she takes a small step towards you, and says, "I can see now." And she takes
Mm.
another step towards you, and she says, "I think you're on the wrong path." And she takes another step towards you, and she says, "But I think we can fix that." And she takes another step towards you, and she's less than a foot. She's standing right in front of you, and she's smiling with an almost maniacal look on her face.
It was some pair, wasn't it?
It really was, and you see one of her dark eyebrows rise just enough to show delight, and she says, "Would you like one too?"
No, I think I'm going to pass on that. I really don't like to eat when I'm, exerting myself physically, and
She
I'm gonna
covers the
I'm gonna be
distance.
going now.
Yeah, she
Um,
covers the distance between you, and you feel her hand grab the collar of your cloak and pull
mm,
you close. And she says, "Fight with us."
what's in it for me?
Um, she reaches up, and she says, "You'll get just what you want." And she reaches out and she touches you right in the middle of your forehead. And your sentiment about the drow becomes a little more, I think the word is elucidated.
Hmm.
You have a perspective now from the other side of drow, who had been treated, oh, oh, so very poorly by their elven brothers and sisters, looked down on for eons, really, not millennia, eons. Ultimately, you felt, well, the spur and spark of rebellion, but that sentiment was not to last, as elven army after elven army overwhelmed the drow, ultimately driving them from the surface of this planet. Some of those drow having ascended to the moon, and others having removed their cities and strongholds to demi-planes beyond the Feywild, and taking with it great magic, and leaving the Drow and then their brethren alongside who fought alongside these elven forces, ultimately betrayed by them as well. 5,000 years have passed, and well, it seems that the Raven Queen, the Drow, and if she has her way about it, Laisha will see that the Shadar Kai join in this rebellion against elves pretty much everywhere.
Hmm. And I know all this from her touching my forehead.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And there's a sense as if you were one of the people that sort of experienced this over the course of thousands of years. It was a lot to sort of take in, but you got the general sense of what's up.
Well, then, if you want me to fight with you, what is the plan? What do you need from me?
She says, she doesn't say, but you can sort of feel this similar sort of telepathic communication. You get the sense that you could be a leader. You could rise up against your own brethren and fight with those who were forced into submission and then into the darkness away from their brethren.
Can I gauge how truthful what's her name?
Laisha.
Laisia.
Yeah.
How truthful she is, or she?
An insight check would give you something.
A 6.
It's very hard for you to buy this because you've sort of had a life of fighting the drought. They're bad. They do bad things to good people in places that seem to be pretty good. They've killed your brethren. They kill elves. They killed them. They killed them. They incite violence. It's what you've experienced, and you fought against them. You've killed many of them. You practiced against. So you don't even know that if you were to take this offer, that they wouldn't just fucking flay you day one. It's hard for you to. It's a hard pill for you to swallow here, in a lot of different ways.
I mean, look, I'm really not in a position to, fight my way out right now. And I just kind of want to go along with the program for a minute until I can figure out how to get out of here or what the true intent is. So
sure, roll me a perception or insight. Let's just see which one you go with.
All right, so perception will be green. We'll go with the insight check. It's a 19.
You don't feel trapped. You don't feel trapped. You don't feel like when you look back out the door, it's open. You can see that golden tree in the distance. You can see just barely around the base of that tree on either side the openings of the gate on the far end of this fortress. And you can see the faint reflections of gold illumination in the cave that you came in near this fortress too. It feels like if you just turned and walked, you could probably just walk right out of here. but there's this weird sort of gravitational force that Laisha has here in this space, almost a distortion in space as she stands
Hmm.
so close to you.
I'm going to turn around and start. I'm going to see if I can just walk out of this area. I want to see what her reaction is. I'm not just going to turn around. I'm going to back up and start trying to walk out.
As you back up, she looks at you and she says, she doesn't move towards you. She says, Garrett, please.
I, I hope that I don't see you again, but this is not my fight.
Um, as you turn to go, it does not seem like you're being pursued. You look back over your shoulder and you see Laisha. She's standing there, her eyes golden. The Raven Queen still seated silently upon her throne. The raven upon the top of that high back seems to be eyeing you from side to side, but there's disturbing sort of silence as you cross the threshold from this space back towards this golden tree. And as you look up at it, it still has a golden quality, but the the level of its illumination seems to be diminished significantly. As you approach it and look back, the hallway that led up to the Raven Queen seems to be shrouded in darkness. And as you come around that tree and look up, there is no fruit to be plucked. And there's just a soft dripping distance. You make your way across this plaza, and as you do, you see another archway, one that was not open to you before and now poses no blockade. And as you look around, the barren sort of interior of this space has an eerie quality, as if something could jump out from it without having to actually exist. And as you take one more step towards the edge of this fortress, you feel wind behind you and turn around, and you see that the gates of this space are shut, and you see your reflection. And you see upon your face a look of disappointment as they reach up and cover their face with their cowl and turn, walk back into the mirror of obsidian before you. What do you do?
So this was the spot where I had put my hand up against it and it pulled me in.
Yep.
And now the whole premise is that we were scouting for territory for the mercenary guild to set up their
Mm-hmm.
base down here.
Mm-hmm. As you look around, you do not see Mary Garden. And you do not see Laecia. You can faintly hear the droplets of water falling off of these stalactites and echoing up softly from the abyss well below.
Huh. How was I supposed to be able to report back to the mercenary guild?
You were supposed to create a teleportation circle and essentially signal that they were ready to be received.
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is take a rest
Okay.
before I die.
Yeah, you've got. I mean, you've got some goodies, right? Do you have some supplies and stuff you might need?
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you want to set up right here in front of the fortress?
I'll do the spell rope trick.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I'm not going to set up right in front of the fortress. I'm going to move back to the entry. Well, I don't know. Can I get back to how we got into this space?
Yeah, I think with the some careful maneuvering, I think you can sort of follow the wall and boulder your way slowly, confidently from sort of the edge of this fortress where it meets this rocky wall, back over this ravine, which seems to there's almost an archway that you have to sort of come over ribbons and stalactites. There's enough of a lip you were obviously able to do it as long as you're not feeling rushed. But as you take your time, you can make your way onto the other side of this, and there's a sort of a diminished nature to this fortress as you look on from the other side. The illumination, which was already quite dim from this distance, looks almost like a haunting silhouette of darkness in relief to the faint shimmer of the stones around it.
All right, I will. I'll make my way back to the teleportation circle.
Okay.
That's the whole way back, right? Um, and download in terms of the Raven Queen's location. Um, what's going on down here.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, as you begin to make your way back down, there's a lot of noise, critters, stuff, things, distance. It is it's a little unnerving. You've got dark vision, 300 feet, right?
yeah,
Um, a couple of the smaller predators here. They have almost bat-like leathery structures. Most more jaw than anything else, as if anything that came by, it would simply hoover in and expand to digest. You're able to very quickly and easily kill a few of those and make a point that you're not prey. As you continue deeper, you make your way back, and the core worm that you fought is still warm. You can feel the temperature change as you enter that chamber, and you can see its tremendous maw, 30 feet in height, frozen in place, iron, carbon. There's just a faint exhalation almost of warmth from deep inside of this creature as you pass before it. Continuing on, you see the felled and necrotized body of this Vrak, and clamber back up over stalagmites to this spot where these two stalagmites have been cut away. As you look across this ravine, you make the leap once more and back towards this Shedar Kai village, and you make your way from one to the other of these stalagmites until you find your way towards this winding, well-trod road, and there's a sense of unease as you look down and you can see the soft bluish illumination over this city. These bioluminescent mushrooms giving light to some questions that you may not be excited to answer. And Mary Garton.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want a pear?
Where did the pear come from?
It came from a big golden tree, a tree of gold, it looks like, filled with leaves of gold and pears of gold, almost dripping from their branches here in the middle of this fortress. You just watched uh, as Garrett tossed a rope up over a branch, and your friend Laisha scampered up that rope, retrieving a pear. And then, when nobody seemed to stop her from doing so, she took a bite. And her eyes went from that sort of silvery color to being an almost gold leafed aesthetic. And very quickly she turned and made her way around this tree and into a set of doors which opened almost reflexively to her presence. And you saw as she and Garrett crossed a threshold and disappeared into darkness, leaving both the rope and the tree before you here.
What happened to her when she ate the pear?
She had a pretty strong reaction, actually. At first, it seemed like nothing had happened. And then once she sort of finished the last of the pear, leaving just a golden stem and leaf, which she tucked neatly into her bag, appreciating the leave no trace ethics of places that you visit. Um, and then she had a real sort of rough moment where she was screaming in agony as it's too much, it's too much, it's all too much. And then her screams echoed through this chamber, causing a stalactite to break from the roof or from the ceiling and shatter into at first thousands of pieces and then millions and then into dust, which seemed to be absorbed by the fortress itself, leaving nary a scratch or a bit of dust on the ground.
No, I think during that chaos she would take off after Garrett.
Okay. As you take off around that tree, the last of those screams ringing, you cross the threshold past these open doors, and as you look inside, you see it looks as if you are inside of a well apportioned yurt. There's streamers dangling nicely and ornately from the roof structure. What looks like almost obsidian like canvas and black reflective wooden, like ebony wood looking framing. The interior is quite beautiful. There's beautiful rugs, oversized pillows that seem to be made of ostrich leather in various colors. There's in the middle of the room a significant looking brazier with a twisted wire grating over it. And you can see what look like thin strips of carrion meat that are being grilled. It has a somewhat acrid aroma behind a very delightful and enticing smell of cooked meat. And on the far side of this room is a round bed and thin black silken curtains draped all around it.
And do I see anybody in here?
Not right this second, no.
I begin investigating the room.
Okay. As you walk deeper into the room, you can begin to feel the heat from the brazier. It's a good 5.5 feet across and sits in the middle of the room. You can see little tongs that look like they've been used to turn this meat just recently. And the section upon which there's meat is actually relatively small, just a few feet square on the far side of this room. As you look around, you can see there's a mirror and sort of a vanity to your left. And as you look in it, you don't see anybody's memories. You see a reflection of yourself and the faint sort of flicker of hot coals in this brazier behind you. Then you hear the rustle of satin to your right as you take another step. And you see a long exposed gray leg slip out from under the sheets on this bed in this Casbah. The toenails are a deep indigo.
And as I walked through the dark opening after the two of them, this is the room I found.
Mm-hmm.
I turn around and look for the entrance I came in.
As you look out, you can see an archway. It looks like two canvas doors have been sort of pulled like curtains aside, as if instead of a fortress, there's a yurt. On this side, you can see the golden tree outside, and so much so you can see the archway beyond it, which is open, and beyond it another archway, which, given as far away as it is, very well may be the one at the far end of this fortress closest to where the precipice across the abyss was. Insight check might be interesting.
Lost Marigarten again?
Perhaps.
I just begin looking for Garrett and trying to talk to him through the tooth.
Okay. As you talk to Garrett, you are outside, and you are making your way back down towards the city now. You're not that far. I mean, you are. It's quite the hike down, but you're not more than 10 miles away at this point. So you can still hear Marygarden. Marygarden, what do you say?
I say, where are you?
I'm working my way back towards the city. I was going to find the mercenary guild and report to them what's going on down here. Where are you right now?
I say, did you not just pass through the same archway I saw you leave?
No, I'm almost back to the Chattakar city.
Okay. Hadley, did you say that looking back through the door to the yurt, I can actually see the where we entered from?
Yep, pretty much.
How did I get here from the endless hallway?
Yeah, so from the endless hallway, Garrett was just sort of talking about, we're not going to get out of here unless she wants it, and then you guys were all just sort of right in front of this tree.
Oh, I see. Okay. How many feet is it to the precipice?
I'd say 250 or so feet from where you are to the edge of the far gate, and then another 20, 30 feet to the edge of the abyss, and then 90 feet across to the precipice.
I dimension door all the way to Garrett's position.
You can get across the precipice, and as you do, the illumination stops. Well, it doesn't stop; it just diminishes significantly, and there's a faint sense of almost embarrassment in your head. Not your feeling, someone or something else's sentiment lingering as you look out towards the broken part of the stone wall where you came in, and you, as you look down, you can begin to see the footprints of Garrett as he moved back down this corridor. And if you want him to, I imagine you can have him wait upon your arrival.
So I once I make that dimension door, it goes 500 feet.
Yep.
So I get as close as I can, and then she'll cast levitate on herself again and start levitating towards him, and try to catch up with him at a I guess what's it called?
I'll work my way back and meet her halfway.
Dash pace.
Yeah, so I think that we see a similar sort of scene as you begin to drift back down through these corridors, past the core worm, which is still warm. You can almost feel heat coming off. You can feel heat still coming off of it, not having bested it very long ago. And as you float back up past the necrotized body of this Vrock, you can see silhouetted against the soft blue illumination way down behind him. You can see Garrett standing upon the stalactite that you both leapt across this ravine from.
Okay, so once I've caught up with him, I follow him back towards the settlement.
Okay. Garrett, do you want to do anything as you look back down towards this city? You do realize that you are going to have some splaining to do.
Yeah, is there a way we can sort of skip past him when, not have to explain that I think your daughter is now a minion of the Raven Queen? Or are we going to have that conversation? I'd like to stealth my way out of it.
I would love for you to do that, but I have a feeling that if we roll to try and get you through the whole city, it's going to be a very interesting way of doing things.
And are they going to think that maybe we had something, knowing the Shadokai, they're going to think that we had something to do with it and not believe this nonsense about the Raven Queen?
I've got great news for you.
Yeah.
And that is that you're not gonna feel like stealth is gonna get it done. Because you might remember that Our Lady of the Shadarkai is a diviner. She has visions.
Yeah.
And as you begin to try and stealth, you see that Are is standing at the entrance of this cave, and is holding a staff of dark, almost looks kind of like wood grain, with sort of like a purple, almost lantern gem sitting atop it. What did you find? She says into the darkness. You're not sure if she can see you right now or not, but she definitely knows you're there.
We found the Raven Queen.
She She's a little taken aback. Mary Garden, as Garrett says this to this woman, her attention sort of begins to seek you out in the darkness, and she almost looks directly at you, and she says, "Is what he says true?"
It is. The girl is now one with the raven.
She looks a little sad, honestly. She says, "It came sooner than I thought."
So you were waiting for this.
We never truly know what comes next, but I saw something, and I was afraid. I was afraid I was right, and I was hopeful I was wrong. And she steps forward, and the illumination from this staff seems to grow brighter. And as it does, the two of you can see that very stealthy critters, which had begun to make their way nearer to you, begin to sort of like and back away from this magical illumination. And she says, "We are no longer safe, are we?"
I'm afraid not. The drow are coming.
She begins to sort of mouth words as if she's trying to will her voice box to work. And she says, "For our support, isn't it?"
I think that's what they'll want. The Raven Queen is in league with them.
She turns again to Mary Garden. "Did you take league with the Raven Queen as well?"
I did not.
So your allegiance is still to your guild?
My allegiance has always been to the dark mysteries.
Well, we have more than enough of those down here. How will your employers deal with this news? And she steps forward closer to the two of you in this parlay.
I don't know, but we'll find out.
Is my daughter still out there?
She's with the Raven Queen in her fortress.
Her eyes sort of raise, and she says, "You've seen it."
We have. We've been in it.
Can you tell me what you learned? And without waiting for a response, she begins to turn and stride down this path back towards the city. What do you do?
So where she's just going back into the. We'll follow her to the city.
She sort of looks like she's waiting for a walk and talk.
All right, we'll follow her back to the city.
Mary Garten.
Yeah, I follow Garrett.
As the two of you catch up with her, she says, "The Fortress of Memories is supposed to be beyond our scope, our purview, our perception. It is not supposed to be manifest in this plane. It is supposed to be trapped between the planes."
Well, this was right at the point where the Underdark and the Feywild. Underdark and the Feywild?
The Shadowfell and the Underdark.
Yeah, so it's right on the border with the Shadowfell.
She says, "Can't count how many times I crossed that threshold and never knew it was there." How did
It was
you
only
find
there
it?
because the Raven Queen wanted us to find it.
She nods. As she continues forward, you're starting to sort of get into the flat of this city. The blue illumination in here giving way to the rising structures on either side of the cavern, which climb up and into the walls of this sprawling space. The glitter, almost like starlight, of rocks overhead from this blue hue.
Now she's this priestess. She's the mother of Laisha.
That's correct.
I say to her that I think the wanted your daughter. That's why we were able to find it. That's why we were able to come to enter, and that's why she allowed us to leave. Her interest wasn't in us. Her interest was in Laisha.
Her faith has always been quite strong, and her drive the only thing that outpaced it. She turns and looks back to Mary Garten. "You still seek the secrets of shadows?"
I do.
If your guild does not threaten my people, then there may be more secrets to the Shadowfell that you would be interested in. Perhaps you could steer your guild towards those powers and away from the Drow and Shadar Kai.
Who does she want me to steer them towards?
Her general sort of disposition is that, like, there's more to this place in the depths of the Shadowfell than just the people of it. And if either upon her advice or your influence, if you could keep the mercenary guild moving down and not up, then essentially she thinks there could be a tacit peace. She's not gonna run her people down the hill to kill y'all, but there's other things beyond the veil of the Shadowfell that
Oh, okay.
you can learn a lot from, and powers that you could delve into. She's essentially trying to steer you and your desires for power and influence, and point you down.
Okay.
Can you do this? Am I asking too much?
Only time will reveal the true nature of the enemy.
It says, find your way in the darkness, and I will see that you and your guild are unaffected by my people and our need for survival.
Shouldn't be a problem. They do everything we tell them to.
Roll me a deception check.
That's a 2.
She smirks, unable to stifle her sentiment, and she says, at this point, you sort of walked past the temple here, and made your way past the majority of this city. There have been a handful of looky-loos, but it's not like it was before. It's as if her presence is sort of keeping people's curiosity at bay. But she strides quietly for a few moments, and then begins to walk this sort of serpentine path that you came up with Raul, now almost 2 days ago. And as you sort of funnel down into this smaller opening, you can see now, not much farther, the twist which turns to the right and leads into the cave where the mercenary guild sent you. And you can see where the water sort of flows out from the rocks down into this little pool, which runs far deeper than anyone should be comfortable with, and then doubles back and begins to sort of burble downward again, deeper into the Shadowfell. And as she makes her way to this opening, she looks to the two of you and says, "This is the line that you cannot cross." And she takes a step back, and she raises her staff, and she says, "You should back up."
I will back up.
As soon as you get 1 foot out of the way, you see her stone shape. Shunk, 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 shunk. This beautiful stone, beautiful calcified stones rippling, and almost immediately you can see them begin to weep this moisture down its sides, and see little rivulets of water begin to cut into the dust and wash down into this small stream, and you are completely cut off from this pathway to this village. And the two of you are standing in a room where your buddy Kagos picked up a dead body and set off a bomb.
So we need to set up the teleportation circle and head back to the guild.
Seems like a good idea. Roll me a perception check. Or if you've got a decent passive, I'll
It's 20.
Yeah, you hear some skittering in the distance, and you think your Hook horror friends might have tried to reclaim their little village. But as you come around the side of this wall and look in, you can see a couple of the ever burning torches that you used dotted around this landscape. And you can see just the last of their dark purple bodies skulking back up into caves. Uh, and fleeing from you well in advance of you getting into this space. You guys you guys want to put down a little chalk circle and
Yeah.
Mary Garten, can I get an Arcana check, please?
Sorry, I thought I got disconnected. What was said?
Arcana, please. Arcana check. Boy, I don't even know why I would ask. You've got a +9 to Arcana.
Yeah, sorry, I'm struggling to get my character sheet up here because I made the real dumb fuck decision of not putting any real letters in the name. So
the YGA. That's how you say it.
I rolled a 17 on a flat die. So
okay, great. +9, a 26. Yeah. As you begin to put this chalk outline down, you don't even really need to look at the instructions. You got this. It's not your first teleportation circle, you know. But as you finish the last of these chalk markings, you begin to see this glow with sort of a silvery light, and it's almost tangible. It's so dense as it rises up from this chalk. And as it does, you see a bunch of crates, and you see BIOS manifest inside of this space, and you see the chalk outline singe upward, and sort of leave a thin line of black on this stone. And BIOS looks out and says, "All right, this is beautiful, guys. You guys okay?" And BIOS looks at the two of you, and how do both of you or each of you look? It's been a bit of a ride.
Yeah, I'm in pretty rough shape right now.
How's Mary Garten looking? No, he called too.
bloody. She's bloody.
She's bloody. Yeah, the two of you look like you've been through the thresher. And BIOS very quickly says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on just a second." And she rushes forward, folds back her right hand, and you see two vials of thick, brackish-looking pink fluid. And she grabs both of them with her left hand, sort of flips her wrist closed, and sort of offers each of you one of these glass vials, and you can see a little brass sort of like flip top end to them.
I'll chug it down.
Okay. As you begin to do that, it's that good yum healing potion. It's got that real amoxicillin-y sort of taste to it. and you're going to take 42 points of healing, each of you, as you kick those guys back.
Sweet.
And Bios says, Slancha.
Well, I'm
Strovia.
we give her the sort of the download of all the stuff we did down there, and
Exposition.
we did this, and then the hook horrors, and then the aboleth, and we've got some pickled brain for you if you'd like to try some. I wouldn't
Yes.
recommend eating it, but Marigarten might be willing to share. And the Raven Queen. How about her? It sounds like she's in league with the Drow now.
If a robotic face could lose all expression,
Hmm.
Bios's does. And she goes, she's just sort of nodding along with, yeah, we killed the hook horse, then we got the aboleth, and then we met the people, and then we went up in the, oh, you managed to shatter Kai, wow. And then you got up and you killed the frog, and then you killed the, oh, that's it. And then we found the Raven Queen, and the Raven Queen's in league with the Drow. And then she just sort of like,
Maybe lead with that.
Hey Garrett, I thought, my processors must be a little wonky. Did you just say that the Raven Queen is in league with the Drow?
Yep, that's exactly what I said.
Oh no.
Mm.
And she begins to look around, and she opens a small compartment on her chest, and she says, um, maybe we should go and we can come back and do. And she sort of like looks at the cave in here. This later. And you see her very quickly take this piece of chalk and begin to mark lines on the ground in here. And as she comes around towards two of you, she sort of pushes you into the middle. And then as she steps in, she makes the last couple of hash marks. And as she draws another little V, you see that similar effect of. And we see that white illumination envelop the three of you. And with a flash, these crates are left sitting inside of this cave. And we begin to hear the grumble and scraping of hook horrors against the stone. And then we see the three of you. And you manifest onto the top deck of the Mercenary Guild airship inside of the hangar. And you are standing in front of the helm, which is little more than a wooden cane stuck in the vivisection of 4 bricks, and a small stone seat, which you've seen Bios upon more than once. And she very quickly begins to rush down the circular stairs inside of this ship across the hangar, and rushes into the briefing room. And as she does, you see Cyanel Silverwhip as she raises what looks kind of like a welding helmet. And you see she's holding a rod of what looks like adamantine, and she looks up and doffs gloves and sets this rod down, and she says, "Back so soon?" And begins to sort of have a concerned look on her face. And as you see her face contort, you also see Bios and Chester come back out of the briefing room. And now all three of them are looking to the two of you, concerned about what you found in the darkness. And that, I'll leave you. So kudos and congratulations. I appreciate y'all joining me on this little 3-part saga. I'm hoping to bring back Shadow Squad in a couple of weeks and start it as a regular campaign again. With this new environment. We will be based out of that location and we'll be pressing onward into the Shadowfell, hopefully to learn more about it and what powers lay in its depths.
Will it probably be at this time,
I
Hadley?
would be very excited to have it at this time. But as I sort of transition from one season to the next, I have some flexibility. So it would I've got I like to do this little frappe, make sure everybody's taken care of, and make sure that anybody who wants to play can to the best of our individual availability. So.
And then are you doing Mercenary Guild Special Ops this Saturday?
So the plan is to do it this. I think it's this Saturday. Let me double check that. Thing. Yes. So the plan is that that's currently set for 9 p.m. Pacific time, but I might be bumping that back closer to 5 or 6.
Okay.
So 8 or 9 Eastern, and might even go a little earlier. The earliest I tend to do games is this 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern time slot. But if that works better for you, I'm totally glad to make the switch and see if anybody else wants to come along for it as well.
All right.
Cool. With that, then, I will bid you adieu and au revoir and sayonara. And remind you, as always, to be good. Take care of yourselves. And if you can't be good, don't get caught. See y'all later.
See you, Hadley.
Doodles.